Okay, welcome everybody. It's Noel here from Well Coach Co UK, and I'm delighted today to be talking to definitely one of the more innovative sort of trainers, or I should say fitness coaches in the UK. It's the body planner, Michael Bach. And Michael's philosophy is he's more than a trainer. He's in the business of producing results to help people win in life, and it's whatever that means to you. And that's really what we're going to be talking about today, because you can be following the best nutrition program, you could be following the best training program, but you still may not see the results that you're expecting. So, morning, Michael. How you doing?
Morning, Noel. How you doing, mate?
Excellent. So, where do you
Good,
want to
good,
kick? Where,
good.
where do you want to kick off today, Michael? Is it? Should we introduce this concept of rich body, rich life? Because it's based on the
Yeah,
best-selling book, isn't it? Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which a lot of people are probably
yeah,
familiar with.
yeah. I mean, it's loose. It's very loosely based on Rich Dad Poor Dad. I mean, I've got two things. There is the Rich Body Poor Body series of articles that then led to the Rich Body Rich Life fat loss formula, but then I just called it the formula because it's so much more than fat loss. It's a little bit of background. Yeah, it's loosely based on the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. I'll not go into that book, but it's loosely based around his real dad and his best friend's dad. One's got an approach to, how can I get things, while his dad has got an approach of you've got to work really hard to get things done. That then led to one was very happy, whereas his dad was very unhappy. I just like the concept of it. I mean, obviously, for me being a business owner, it's a very good book, but I did like the concept. I like how I could overlap it into health and fitness, and that basically came up with the concept of rich body, poor body. Now, rich body, poor body has got nothing to do with two people. It's very much more based on my experiences in the fitness profession, working with clients, just talking to people who want to get in shape or want to get healthy, even, on my blog, on Facebook, all sorts of things. Just everybody that you come across, either directly or indirectly. Some of them are, what I would call going towards the rich body, where it's what they're doing. So it is their, how they exercise, how they eat and drink, but also much more than that is their whole approach to it. So the mindset towards it, their
Yeah.
attitude to it, as opposed to the poor body who might be doing things like, a very yo-yo approach to it,
Yeah.
not looking at the bigger vision and the bigger purpose. So it is very much a collection of them, but it came from that book initially, yeah.
Yeah, and in essence, it's just that the mind feeds the body, and that the body in turn feeds the mind. And so
Yeah,
there's this sort
yeah,
of relationship going on, which is really key when you work with
yeah,
enough clients as to why some see results and others don't
yeah.
get the results that they really want. And then,
That's right.
and then beyond that, that once you've got a really good relationship between mind and body, there's much bigger results that show up in your life in terms of
Yeah,
like more confidence, self-esteem, relationships, doing better in
yeah,
your career, etc.,
yeah,
etc. Which
yeah.
you're big on.
We, you've got, I mean, no, you've got loads more power for it, haven't you? If you take the one person who all they want to do is, in 3 months it's going to happen again in January. Oh, I'm going to do it this year. I want to lose some weight. Yeah.
Yeah,
The driver isn't really that big for them, whether they know it then or not, and that's where the yo-yo and they don't exercise or they don't go to the gym.
yeah.
Even
And,
though the
and
big,
worse, Michael, we know it. They have fun in the Christmas period, eating and drinking,
yeah,
because they're going to go and get fit in the new year.
yeah, they're having the
And the
last, they're having the last blowout.
further you take yourself back, the harder it's going to be in the new year.
Yeah,
But in the
yeah.
rich body, sorry, in the poor body mindset, that doesn't sort of figure. But the rich
No,
body,
it's very
we're
short
both
term.
we're both thinking, why wait till January? Why not get a head start?
Well, absolutely, yeah. I
The-
mean, it's something I've just written. We've got a quarter of the year left. It's only start of October. Yet most people are thinking because the summer's over,
Well,
or
you've
what
had a
was
few
it?
good days, haven't you, recently?
Yeah. What was a summer? It's like right, the stuff's in the shops for Christmas now, and
Yep.
it's very much a wind down until Christmas. People are waiting for the next holiday
They're
and things like that.
waiting, aren't they? Which is a
Yeah, yeah.
kick.
And then, they'll get that little sort of firework going off in their head that it's to start in January, where the fact of the matter is we've got 3 months, a quarter of the year for making all sorts of progress. So that is a great example of what a rich body would be thinking. The mindset would be, right, enough's enough. I'm going to get started now. The rich body doesn't have to be somebody who's in rich shape right now. It's all about, their attitude and their mentality towards it, whether they're 5 stone overweight now and, got type 2 diabetes and high cholesterol, but mindset and their approach to it is, right, I'm gonna get on with it now and find the best way of doing it, but I've got the right mentality towards it as well. Yeah.
And we're chatting, weren't we? The poor, I get this right, the poor body, they set goals, and normally they're like avoidance, or I want to lose
Yes.
10 pounds. And
Reactive.
if you ever done much, join a symbiology course, it's just brilliant. He talks
Oh,
about
yeah.
goals are either empowering or disempowering, and they're either
Yeah.
moving you towards or away. So when you
Yeah.
set a goal like I want to lose 10 pounds because I feel crap, it's both a
Yeah.
disempowering goal that's actually a way goal, and so it's not
Yeah.
a very strong, it's not a very clean goal.
What it is, it's a
Hence,
very negative relationship to it.
that
Yeah.
you're feeding the
And
mind. It's not helpful to the mind
yeah,
to
yeah,
set that.
you're feeding the minds of, I need to get away from something rather than I want to go towards something, that's going to be a lot more powerful.
So the point you make about a vision, Michael, if you could explain that now, because I think that's really powerful. Why is a vision so much more powerful than a goal?
Yeah, well, a goal doesn't have too much to it, does it? A goal can be something that's, a great example is I want to lose a stone. Now that's great, and it can actually work for some people. And unbeknown to them, they probably have got a vision. They've just not, done it on paper or not done it methodically. A vision is seeing the bigger picture. It's like a collection of goals, and it is looking into the long term a lot more. So on a practical sense, I might have a 12-month vision of, in the next 12, by 12 months time, what do I want to look like? What do I want to feel like? What do I want to be achieving? And that's just not in health and fitness, but it can be in everything, because then if I'm working with somebody in a program, then, they've already made the relationship of, by training correctly, by eating correctly, and so on, that while they are going to create a much better exterior, and that's fantastic, because that's stage one, that it's going to empower them to do all the things that they want to do. And again, going back to Rich Dad, Poor Dad, one had the approach of, I can't afford this. And then the rich dad had the approach of, how can I? The rich body is much the same of, how can I achieve, better relationships? How can I achieve better financial success and stuff like that? Because we've already established the relationship of, by being healthier and having more energy, that we're going to go and achieve those things. Yeah. So when we do a vision, we look at everything. We don't just look at, oh yeah, I want to run a half marathon for the first time. It's so much more than that. I've had some huge ones, relating to relationships and marriage, relating to a better business in times of when we're in a so-called recession and things like that, because they knew that was the effect. So we're looking at the full 12 months.
And it's not just visual, is it? Although we talk like a vision, it's more than just sort of seeing. It's how do you feel?
Well, it's wiring it in, isn't it?
Yeah, what are you experiencing? And in which case, it's more real, it's more compelling, isn't it? Because we literally we step into it, and then ideally you step back again, and it's the contrast between the two that drives you forwards and into it.
Yeah. You've got to believe it, haven't you? So you can say it, you can read it, and you can do all these things like affirmations and what's not. Yeah, cool, because it does get the body going, and if the body's going, then you're going to believe it a bit more. If you slouch down like this,
yeah, I'm conscious. I'll stand up now, but it raises your emotional state, doesn't it? And it's all
about
state.
You can believe. Yeah, exactly. And by that, you're wiring yourself, so you're going to permanently believe it. Yeah, you don't have to pick up the cards and tell you. You do actually believe it, because your mindset is now wired towards success rather than wired towards reacting to whatever problems there are. Yeah, you've been more proactive.
That's another distinction you talk about, Michael, like the thermostat that's in our minds. that
Yeah,
almost keeps people where they are. And
it's
I think
set.
originally it came from the classic book Cyberkinetics, didn't it? And then Harv Eker
Yeah, I've read a bit of that. Yeah,
and Harv
yeah,
Eker brilliantly then took it to another level. And here you're
yes,
introducing it to the fitness, which,
yeah.
Harv was actually a personal trainer anyway, wasn't he? But it's
He
ideally.
was, yeah, yeah. When I read his book, I only realised then. You know, I saw him in London, and then I read the book, and yeah, he was into fitness equipment, fitness superstores,
Yeah. So
stuff
take
like
us
that.
through the thermostat for the mind and where that keeps us where we are, because
Yeah,
that's going back to beliefs again, isn't it? So just perhaps expand
yeah,
on
of
that
course,
briefly.
of course. And it's a pretty tricky one. I mean, is that thermostat, and we all know what a thermostat does. Once you reach that level, you're not going to go any higher. Yeah. If your thermostat in your house, so we're talking about temperatures, if it's set higher and you've got the central heating on, it's going to reach that level. And that's the same sort of thermostat that I've, yeah, as you say, in cybernetics, and more recently, I've seen it with this guy who's to do with personal development called T. Harv Eker, and that thermostat has its effect in whether we are programmed for getting into great shape or not. Yeah, because it's how you think about people that are in great shape is the thermostat. That's one that's probably the biggest example, and the best way I have it showing it is if somebody is in, they're not in great shape right now. Yeah, maybe they have had problems up and down, the yo-yo and whatever they've been doing. But let's say now they've got the best program going and they've got the best nutrition going. So the two things, everything about the lifestyle, it's all on a piece of paper for them. Yet they still can't get the success when if they followed it exactly, there would be no problems whatsoever. They would get there. But when they look at fit people, yeah, when they look at fit people, what's their relationship to them? What do they perceive about them?
Yeah.
Maybe they think things like, yeah, they don't eat. If it's somebody who's got really low fat, oh, they can't enjoy food. They, as a result, they don't really enjoy their lives. Yeah. All they do is train. Yeah, things like
That's-
that. All myths, by the way, because
Well, okay, but it's real for the person thinking that, and
but it's real for them
that's what we've got to
exactly.
work
Yeah.
with. And
So
and
that,
we
so they're,
spoke
so
earlier,
they're
Mike. I
thinking
mean, the
those
mind
things.
feeds the body feeds the mind. It creates an internal
Yes.
conflict, and as
Yeah.
much as they're
Yeah.
motivated to do what they want, they don't really want it because
Uh,
of those beliefs and
that's it.
that they have
It.
about it. And
They don't want to exactly. They don't want to be like the person that they perceive the fit and healthy person, what they perceive them to be like and how they feel. So straight away, it leads to less action because they've got a very negative relationship to what a rich body is,
yeah.
perhaps. Yeah, or a fit
So
body.
how
Yeah,
would we switch that around? How would we go from like a poor body to a rich body mindset? Are there like
yeah,
triggers that you can sort of surface? Because I think you've already
yeah,
said like questions are powerful. How can I? That's fantastic.
yeah,
Because when you ask how can I, you start
yeah.
accessing deeper levels of your subconscious.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely. So you ask those questions. How you are changing your mindset. So you're even using those interpretations of the ones that I've just used of how somebody perceives a rich body to be. That they're always in the gym or whatever. It's about changing those and actually believing them and like saying these are all the negative feelings that we have about the person that I want to be. Let's think of the positive ones. Let's think of the actual truthful reasons, with help and with coaching. Once you get those programmed into your head, then it's a lot easier because now you're thinking, well, actually, they're not in the gym all the time, or they do enjoy their lives. They do have a social life. things like
they have a
that.
better social life because they have more energy. So that
Exactly.
as soon
Yeah,
as
they
you
have a
said
better
that,
social life.
is like, what would
Yeah,
that mean? And
yeah,
and you dispute it. And someone I reckon there is like Byron Katie. I think you can introduce a lot of her work into the fitness field because she helps you
right.
dispute your thoughts as to whether they're
Yeah,
real or not, and also start
yeah,
looking at the payoffs. And
yeah,
what would be the cost of this? What would be the upside of this? And
yeah,
that's where you can massively transform that. So I mean, essentially, the whole sort of rich body, rich life concept. It's all about living a more empowered way of life through having a more
yeah.
empowered mindset. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. No, and it's like having the bigger purpose of it. So again, that's what we're talking about with the vision, but using another word, purpose is, you know, most people's purpose isn't to have like, a toned stomach and to have abs or to be able to run a half marathon in such a time or to be 10% body fat. That's not their purpose. Yeah. Their purposes might be, and only they, can answer this, and with the help, of others like ourselves, but maybe they can answer it themselves. Their purpose is going to be, to be a good father, a good mother, to in their profession to help as many people as possible. To see as much of the world as they want to. Every person's different what their purpose is, and then it's basically aligning that with the fact of, well, how does being fit and healthy relate to that purpose?
Yeah.
How
So
does
it's
it?
coming up
Yeah,
with that vision, isn't it? As compelling as you
yeah,
can, and then asking
yeah,
yourself, why is that important to me? And why
yeah,
is that
yeah,
important to me? And we've had that
yeah,
analogy before of peeling the
yeah,
onion, going
and
deep, but getting a
yeah,
really powerful
yeah.
why,
And
a powerful
it's
purpose.
yeah, and it's basically, getting to the stage where you're agreeing that by, being healthy internally and externally, how it's going to have an effect on that purpose of any given individual. There will be some people who will probably think, well, no, I can do all those things without being fit and healthy. But, I disagree. I don't think that's the case whatsoever. And, I've even read books by the likes of, one more recently by Duncan Bannatyne, of all people. And one of the first things he says in his first chapter is, if you don't have good health, what do you have? Yeah. And he's not exactly a guy that's got a six pack or anything, but he's full of energy
And
and
he's
exercises.
come from the fitness industry of the whole,
Yeah,
running
yeah,
clubs.
exactly.
So
And
he's
it was
similar.
all to do with knowing that if you look after, I guess if you look after the best bit of equipment that you've got, which is yourself, how that aligns into everything else that you're trying to do with your life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And there's a classic quote, isn't there? If I was going to live this long, if I'd known I was going to live this long, I would have taken better care of myself. The recent figures out
yeah,
in the UK, we've got five times as many people living to 100 now as we did, say,
yeah,
20 years ago. And so if that
yeah,
is the case, you've got the one body. That's what's going through
yeah,
life with you. You better look after it. So it is both short
absolutely.
term and long term, which is where I fully agree with your approach
Yeah.
and all the
You
time.
don't you don't want to be, those last 20, 30 years where you can't move.
Ah, it scares me.
you,
So,
you know,
brilliant. So
yeah,
we have a
absolutely.
we have a take home message in a second, but if people want to find out more about you, they go to thebodyplanner.com.
That's right. Yeah, yeah,
and
that's the main site.
and in the real world, it's South Manchester is your base. We should point that out.
Yeah,
UK.
yeah, South
Okay.
Manchester, Cheshire Way. Yeah,
Fantastic. And it's not just training, it's also sports therapy and it's also coaching. It's the way you put it sort of all together.
yeah, yeah. It's a
Follow back.
very holistic approach. You know, don't get me wrong, we really get stuck into the training. I'm a big advocate of how you exercise and what sort of lifestyle that you lead, and obviously how you eat and how that's going to affect the whole rich body sort of scenario, rich life. But yeah, it's the coaching towards it as well. So I look at it. I used to look at it as a triangle. Or if there was three things that you had to be very good at for any given individual, that was your nutrition, your activity or your training program, a mixture of prescribed activity and just general activity, because we're so sedate these days. And then the third one was anything to do with psychology, mindset, goal
Mindset.
achievement,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it. But nowadays, I think it's more like a square, because you want to include the lifestyle as a whole. Yeah,
And that's where we look at sleep, we look at regeneration time, play
yeah,
time, it's recovery time as much as training time.
Absolutely.
the balance, isn't it? So it has grown, it's more, and this is what you're doing. You're constantly expanding your services, aren't you, to
Yeah.
provide a better service all round. So, big question: who's going to be in the final of the Rugby World Cup? Who do you think?
England.
I'm going to stick my neck out and go for Ireland, New Zealand.
You know what? Actually, I have to say England, even though half the
I'm
team are
wearing
going
an
to be
England.
sent home very, very soon.
I'm wearing an
But
England
the
top.
Welsh,
The Welsh, yeah.
very
Okay,
nice.
okay.
I think Welsh are the dark horses to actually win it. I don't think England will win it, but I think Wales could.
And your take-home message for people listening to this call?
Take home message is look at the bigger picture. Yeah, wire your mind for success before you've got the best program and the best nutrition.
Yeah, and we actually said this before, that people are too focused on the
Yeah,
short term. I want to have a six-pack, I
yeah,
want to lose weight. Whereas you're
yeah.
really encouraging them to have both a short-term and a longer-term perspective.
Big
Because
time, yeah.
because
I think you've got to have the short term. We're not getting away from that whatsoever. When I work with somebody in the first month, I'm not just looking for good results. I'm looking for amazing results. And
yeah.
when we use the tools and coach, that's what we're getting.
But
What I
it's the
don't
bigger
want,
picture fuels them to get the
I
short-term
don't
picture,
want,
isn't it?
yeah, I don't want the yo-yo. I want to, for me personally, I want to affect their lifestyle as a whole. Not just for the next month or two, but for for the years ahead. Whether I continue to work with them or not, it's about affecting the bigger picture. Yeah.
Got it. Brilliant. Michael, brilliant talking to you, yeah?
You too, mate.
You,
Fantastic.
you have a great day, yeah?
Thanks so much. Yeah.
Cheers.
England.
I think we kept everybody happy with England, Ireland and Wales. Apart from our anti-podium friends, I think we kept most people happy. So, okay, cheers.